Welcome back to We Are Definitely Afraid of... It is a mouthful. Woo! What three assholes decided to get name for it? Welcome back to We Are Definitely Afraid of the Dark. I am Stephen Smith. With me, as always, is our horror Sherpa, Kyle.
Hello, everybody.
Yes. I guess my scaredy cat partner in arms is Emma.
Hi, Emma Holder here.
Yay. And then our guest this week is the inimitable, the uncompromising, the beloved. She's a stand-up comedian.
Ooh.
Yeah. There it is.
That's your first credit.
She's an improviser, a sketch comedy writer, and performer, Danielle Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Hello.
Your voice is coming in. It's smooth, dulcet tones. You sound great.
Good.
So let's get into what our movies are this week. So our new sort of protocol is, I think we sort of piloted it last time, but we're asking our guests to bring in 3 movies, and then Emma and I are allowed to exercise some degree of panic and control over what we ultimately choose. So Danielle, why don't you tell us what you chose for this week?
My 3 are Green Room, The Strangers, and The Invitation.
Cool. So should we talk about what we actually picked, or should we go through those 2 that we did not?
I think let's go ahead and say what we picked.
Okay.
We chose The Invitation.
Yes.
Is where we ended up here, which I think is a nice middle ground between the 3 options as far as
It's the middle ground?
spooky level. I think so, yeah.
Wait, what was the less scary?
So
Emma and I are both like, fuck, we chose the middle.
Green Room, I feel like, is barely like I wouldn't even necessarily call it a horror movie. Like it's like horror adjacent. It's more like a
it's
action movie. Like
grindhousey and
yeah,
gory,
super genre grindhousey, definitely, and it's really tense. Like it's a very tense
really
movie.
good.
I love it.
I heard so many great things about it, but everything was like, it is uncompromising in its violence, and you're just going to be like nervous and sick the whole time. So
Yeah.
Well, the only thing I
That's
read
fair.
about it, because I didn't know about any of these, but Patrick Stewart, is he in it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir.
It would be
Professor
fun if they had a
X.
quote
Sir.
from him and he wasn't in it. On the IMDb page, he says, I got really scared after reading the script and locked all my doors in my house.
And that was his.
That's a
incentive
paraphrase.
for
That's a
doing it.
weird reaction to have to that script as somebody who's
Yeah,
seen the movie.
because it has nothing to do with home invasion, where it's what you thought that exact thing would happen to you.
I mean, I guess if he was worried about Nazis, that's why
fair.
that's what he's trying to say.
It's a Nazi movie?
Yeah, it's like
There's
skinheads, like
Nazi
neo-Nazis.
stuff.
yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
punk skinheads.
I was like, how is he worried about...
But they're
It's
like
really
proper white
good.
supremacists, right? Like,
yeah,
they're, they got the
full-on
flags and the
red
gestures.
laces and all that stuff.
Wait, what?
Yeah, this is the thing in the movie. They have red shoelaces.
Yeah.
When you're a made man in the skinhead community, you get these red shoelaces. It's pretty.
Wow.
It's a good movie. We're not watching it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So give up the drink.
Back to the invitation.
So the second one that we chose not
We
to
vetoed was The Strangers.
The Strangers.
The Strangers.
Tell us
which,
about that one, Danielle.
I just remember it's the first scary movie I saw in theaters, and I've been traumatized ever since. It is not an easy watch. I don't know why I wanted to watch it again. The more I think about it, the more I'm really glad you didn't pick it. I don't know why I wanted to. I think it's just,
It's a new classic, in the
really good.
horror canon. It is of the post 2000
Sackheads, right?
yeah, kind of.
That was kind of a thing for a couple of years where it was a lot of home invasions with people with sacks on their heads.
Yeah, the main dude has a sack on his head, and then I think the other
Have
two
masks.
But there's a
ladies
movie
have,
called
doll
Baghead.
masks.
That's mumblecore, I think.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like a mumblecore movie.
No, it's scary.
Okay.
Oh shit. Okay.
It's Duplass Brothers, but it's scary.
Yeah.
Shout out to episode 2.
Yeah. So two out of 3 of our episodes, we've now talked about the Duplass brothers.
Maybe
it's
it'll
got-
I don't know who
Count
that
it.
is.
And it's got Liv Tyler in it, right?
Yeah, Liv
Yeah.
Tyler, Scott Speedman is in the mix.
who I love.
Whoever is Dennis and It's Always Sunny.
Oh,
Glenn
yeah.
Howerton.
Glenn
I forget he
Howerton.
pops up there.
Well, we're
Yeah.
not watching
But we're
that
not
movie.
watching
Yeah, not watching that
Love
movie.
how much time we're devoting to movies we're not watching.
We are watching The Invitation.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll tell you what I know about this movie, why I chose it. Well, one, it wasn't Green Room. And then I would watch, I think, Strangers, but I feel like we got to kind of work our way up to that. My mom saw The Invitation, and I remember her saying she liked it. So if she got through it, she's a braver person than me. But if she got through it, I'm like, oh, okay, I feel like I can handle it.
yeah.
Yeah, you
My mom always
definitely
said.
can.
That is the extent of what I don't really know anything about it, other than there's a dinner party and maybe some guy is like obsessed with somebody or something?
I would say the less you know about the movie going into it, the better.
I didn't know anything, and it fucked me up because of that.
Yeah, if you don't know anything about it, it's like a pretty wild ride.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's another one that's like really tense, but it is definitely, of the three options, like the chillest option, I think.
It's
like,
the most vanilla.
It is the most, I wouldn't say banal.
You know what? There's nothing wrong with being vanilla.
Vanilla bean. You can spice up vanilla by adding some bean to it.
Disclaimer:
vanilla
I'm
bean.
Mexican.
Yeah, this is the Scott. Well, Emma's from the Northeast, from New England. That's sort of ethnic.
That's different.
If you
So-
mean white,
it's certainly-
So originally white, it's basically ethnic.
It's certainly
Yeah.
specific.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
No, it's not. Don't worry. You don't have to justify
yeah.
that.
Well, I was just like,
Be proud of your culture.
own it.
Own it.
Own it, girl.
Emma, what do you know about the invitation?
well,
You did some research.
I skimmed the Wikipedia.
Smart.
Not smart. Made me.
No,
Why would
legit, like an appropriate
myself.
coping mechanism.
Yeah, it
myself.
is.
Although honestly, Kyle was yelling at me while I skimmed the
I
Wikipedia.
didn't yell at you.
You were telling me not to
I
do
said
it.
you should not do that if you want to enjoy the movie.
That's
the
so
kind of man
fair.
who likes to
Kyle,
tell women what to do.
Oh, here we go.
We've told you a number of times this isn't about enjoyment. This is about getting our voices and our content out there through any means necessary, even through this horrible endurance test. Thanks for coming, Danielle.
I can't wait. I think I will enjoy it more knowing what. Although I didn't, I read a few little details. I don't really get what happens. I read it very rushed.
Okay.
And with a man yelling.
It sounds
in your ear the whole
intriguing with a
time.
man yelling at me, which just brings me back to my childhood. Just kidding.
Let's get into it.
But I know that it sounds spooky, but not like I'm going to be worried about getting murdered tonight.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
That's good.
Plus, yeah.
Okay, we'll walk each other to everyone will walk as a group to our respective cars.
Yes.
Yeah, we should say this is the first time we're recording this podcast at
night.
It's 8:03 p.m.
It is, the sun's going down right now.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Which
Spooky.
is unique for us. What is not unique is that Emma Holder has her laptop out, ready to do work.
It's a bit of an ongoing joke.
Third
where
recording in a row.
Emma conveniently, no matter the time of the week or whatever, has work to do that she has to multitask. I mean, do it. Cope.
Yeah. Well, yes. Okay. It is going to distract me a little bit, but also I need to get some work done.
Sure.
I'm really behind.
There's just not enough hours in the day.
Well, there aren't. There aren't. Can we do something about that?
Also, it's dimly lit in here. Can we crank up the wattage?
Oh,
for
no.
No, absolutely not.
All right.
It stays.
Kyle's house. Kyle's
My
rules.
house, my rules.
Yeah.
If anything, we're making it dimmer.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
let's watch this movie.
Let's
Yeah,
make
let's do it.
this
All right.
sexy.
What?
I'm the guest. I want to make things sexy in here.
You guys, we watched The Invitation. Did I get the title right?
Yeah, that's exactly
Okay.
right. You did it.
That's it.
Just like a hot take right out the gate. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, I love it. I
Yeah.
love this movie.
Love it from Kyle. Emma.
I liked it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Okay.
I loved it, and then on rewatch, liked it. So
Yeah, it definitely, watching it with you guys, made me
Well-
see the flaws a lot more.
That's a sort of thing that I think as we're watching these two, where I'm like, is this just like grossly disrespectful that we ask somebody like, hey, hang out with us for a few hours, bring a movie that you really like, and then
shit on it
to
the whole-
mitigate our own anxiety, we'll make fun of it for an hour and a half.
no, I
but-
liked it. I needed it.
I thought
It
about
helped.
that too, but it is definitely to help with my anxiety. That's why I
Fair
make
enough.
the jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In life and in this podcast.
This is why I definitely want us to do an episode where we have to go to a movie theater and can't talk.
Yeah, can't
Oh,
talk.
that's so hard.
Can't text.
Yeah.
Can't. I mean, Hereditary's coming out. I love
I will not watch that movie.
that trailer is
That child is
I think it would
terrifying.
literally kill you. I think you would. Your hair would turn bone white.
Understand, the Creep, which was not that scary, affected my life.
Okay, maybe we got to talk about this movie. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll do an
Yes.
addendum at the end
Okay.
where I want to check in with you and see how you did post Creep.
Okay.
Episode 2, Danielle. Just a heads up, it's a Duplass Brothers movie. A guy gets axed in the head. No big deal.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah,
Very
spoilers
crime
for
and
people that are
punishment.
listening to this that didn't listen to the Creep episode.
Yeah, why are you guys listening to episode
Yeah.
3? Go back. Start at the beginning.
This podcast must be listened to sequentially.
Exactly.
There will be ongoing storylines.
Because my fears will keep building and you will not know which is which.
Okay, so
no.
this is a movie about... Oh, sorry.
I did enjoy this. There were just
Yeah.
flaws.
Well,
Like with any movie.
It ends with
Yeah,
a
with
bang.
literally
So
every movie.
Yes,
we'll
the
get to
ending
that.
is 10 out of 10.
Yeah, it does sort of like wipe the slate clean for like any of its other misgivings. So this is a movie about pretentious, wealthy Hollywood douchebags.
Yeah.
Basically, there's one of every kind, of every sort of archetype is at this dinner party.
Yeah.
It starts with... I guess like some sort of like metaphor about mercy at the beginning of the movie where our protagonist, his name... Will and his new girlfriend Kira hit a coyote, and then
In their car.
Yeah, with their car, and then he bludgeons it to death off screen with a tire iron.
Because it was dying anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, of
It was
course.
mercy killing.
Yeah,
We
In case
should.
someone doesn't know what a mercy killing is.
Webster's Dictionary defines mercy killing as beating
snuffing the
coyote
life out
with
of
a tire
something with a
iron.
blunt instrument.
Emma, what did you think of that moment? Was
Yeah,
there,
Emma. Like, if you were to put yourself in that position, let's say you're out in the Hollywood Hills, you're driving around with a friend. Oops, you guys hit a
So,
coyote. It's
I
still
said
alive.
something
What
kind
would you
of
do?
terrible, but I would like it. I wouldn't enjoy doing this. I just said, why doesn't he just run over it with his car? Because that seems less scary to me than having to hit it in the head. I do understand your point that wouldn't be as merciful to the coyote, but it would be less intense for me.
Why don't they just
Take it to the vet.
I mean, that's what I would end up doing.
Well, they were on their way to a dinner party.
Take it to the
so
vet.
I would call 311.
you know how ex-wives can be
Crying.
if you're late to a dinner party.
I would call 311 crying and be like, there is a dying coyote. What should we do? Look up coyote CPR.
Well, Choi was 4 hours late, and nobody seemed to give a shit about
Yeah.
that. So I guess they could have dropped it off at the vet.
They definitely could have.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an emergency vet somewhere in LA. It only takes 20 minutes to get anywhere in LA, according to Clueless.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not true.
I know, but it's a line in Clueless.
Wait a minute, was that line a joke?
Aww.
So then they arrive at this dinner party, and there's all sorts of like old friends there, but we get through expository dialogue that's very ham-fisted. We learn that something has happened between the protagonist, whose name is
Will.
and his ex-wife
Eden.
Oh my
How could we
god!
forget?
Oh my god!
Original sin in all white.
Yeah, she's wearing all white, and she keeps like holding apples, like waving apples around.
Very
She has a
handsome.
snake.
She looks like the craziest person. Like look one of those people that you look at her and you're like, oh, you are completely unhinged.
Yeah,
you're falling
she
apart.
looks broken.
Yeah.
In part because she has this like very like breathy voice, and she's like, I'm happy.
And
Yeah.
she has cracked lips that she tried to cover up with lipstick.
Huge cracked lips.
I didn't notice
cracked
that.
That's all I could look at.
Danielle blew open like the myth about full lips halfway through the movie. It's like
It's
they're cracked
increased
all the time.
surface area. Increased surface area of bigger lips leads to cracked lips.
Yeah, Danielle, what's this chalkboard you've been writing an equation on the entire time?
Moisture to the second power.
Let's rattle off who are sort of like cast of characters, and very few of whom have any sort of character
The toad.
development.
The toad. The one, what was her name? Claire.
Claire.
Who is the one who inexplicably is friends with all these people.
Who just has their life
She's
together.
a tenured professor, we find out.
Oh,
She's a real fucking
smart
stick in the
one.
mud.
The
Yeah.
smart one
Yeah,
who
yeah.
leaves almost immediately. They show her a video of a woman dying, and she's like, "Yep, I'm out. I'm tired."
So that's implied that she was killed,
No, she
right?
waited till the man told the story about
yeah, that's
murdering
right.
someone.
Yeah, an alarmingly tall and sort of like aggressively bald character actor shows up, and he just, apropos of almost nothing, tells a group of strangers how he
Manslaughtered
abused his
his
wife,
wife.
how he manslaughtered his wife.
Yeah.
They're playing a game where they express a thing that they want, and his thing that he wanted was to tell everybody about his murder of his wife.
That's such a cop out.
It reminds
Yeah.
me of in the Breakfast Club when Allie Sheedy pours out her purse and then is like, "Don't look at everything." And Emilio Estevez is like, "Why'd you pour it out if you don't want us to look at it?" Or maybe it was the other guy, Anthony Michael Hall. Doesn't matter. The point is,
This
nobody
movie's
asked.
exactly like Breakfast Club.
Nobody asked, and you poured out your purse of murder.
Who's that character? Who plays that character?
Which character?
The one who dumps out her purse.
Allie Sheedy.
I
She's
do have a quick anecdote. One time, this man at a bar at my sister's wedding was like, "I saw you dancing at the wedding, and you're like so 80s. I hope you find your Emilio Estevez." And I was like, "Are you comparing me to the one who like gets dandruff out of her hair? Why would you do that?"
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
Can I confess something to you all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we going to play which one were we in the Breakfast Club?
We should. No, I just want to let you know, as someone who has suffered in the past and may currently suffer from very bad scalp issues, I've definitely done that before, and it's fun.
That makes me feel better.
I'm Anthony Michael Hall.
Ooh.
I'm obviously this guy at the end.
Yeah.
Judd Nelson.
Judd Nelson,
From my
there you go.
hometown,
Oh, no kidding.
Falmouth, Maine. Yeah.
Wow.
How about that?
Falmouth?
Well, Falmouth is the town next to Portland. I lived in both.
Falmouth?
What a coincidence. You got
Falmouth?
such a...
Falmouth.
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 It's named after an English town.
We didn't land on Falmouth.
Like Plymouth.
And they're like,
Falmouth.
you know what? Let's keep going to Plymouth
Yeah.
Rock. This name's confusing.
I don't like this.
So that stick in the mud. She pieces out of the party early. Fucking gets killed in a driveway.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We think probably.
Oh, definitely. He
Probably.
did let her leave.
I mean, given
Yeah.
the outcome of the night.
The rest of the night.
Yeah, I would bet.
I like Gina, the one whose
Gina's cool.
boyfriend is late to the party, and is just like,
Yeah.
"Give me that cocaine!
Yeah.
I want to kiss this girl."
Well, she didn't kiss.
And then the two
The
gay guys
psychotic
slut
girl.
shamed her at one point in time.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
Gina's always fucking around in college.
Yeah.
Gina's fun.
Yeah.
Gina seems fun.
But again, no character development. Her only character is that her boyfriend's late all the time. There's a gay couple. I think a cat is maybe doing some
Yeah,
sort of
my cat is
mysterious-
wandering around and playing with cords.
Everybody's a
So
critic.
funny. There's so many chords for him to play
He's
with.
loving this.
There's
Yeah.
there's the sort of obtuse fat guy who
Oh yeah, he's just a hedonistic. He's like, "Give me the food. I want to fuck. I got no self-control.
My wife's at home with the kids.
Eden's
Yeah.
hot.
Oh my
Don't
God.
tell my wife that I just kissed this insane woman."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, his line was that was my favorite conversation in this movie of like stilted ways to like force odd pairings of characters to end up in the kitchen together. When he goes and says to Will, like, "Listen, I think we hate each other, but the sex is so crazy, I can't say no." And then they just leave
Yeah,
the kitchen.
Will just
Yeah.
pats him on the back.
And
Is
he's
like,
like,
"Ha, ha,
"All right,
happy to
good
be
talk."
here."
Boys will be boys. And then that's it, right? I mean, of the original friend
Oh, well,
circle.
there's
What about
Also-
the couple?
The gay man,
Miguel
Bobby.
Bobby and Miguel.
Yeah, and they're just a fun gay couple.
Yeah.
You seem nice.
They have a
They're
fun.
actually not that fun.
One's
They
a
could be way
doctor.
more fun.
They could have they had a fun little Spanish conversation just to really hone down. His name was Miguel. I think it went
No comprende.
gracias, de nada,
Yeah.
salud, no comprende inglés.
Mi casa e su casa.
Nope.
Did I say that wrong?
No, it's right. That
well. Correct.
But
Very
still,
possibly
no.
did.
But still no.
And then there's a guy named Choi who's late to the party who
Yeah.
everybody shits on. Oh, by the way, these people are all awful to each other.
Yeah.
Especially since we find out that Will and Eden have a reason, maybe justification for being kind of like emotionally distressed. They lost a child. Everybody's a fucking asshole from the minute they walk through the door. Just bastards.
Yeah, completely insufferable. Just and when any character leaves, everybody is just immediately starts talking shit about that character. When
Yeah.
Claire leaves, they all start complaining about how she sends them cat videos all the time.
She's literally like bleeding to death in the driveway,
Yeah.
like and not 50 yards away, and everybody's like, "We hate Claire, she sucks." And then Choi, we find out he's Korean. Apropos,
yeah, they really hammer
For no
that
reason.
point
They
home.
bring it up a
Is
lot.
the most unnecessary thing.
But we haven't talked about my favorite character, No Pants Chloe.
no bottom.
No
pants.
Tell us how she's introduced.
So she's introduced by Will is always peeping through doors.
We should say that Will is coming back to the house that he used to live in with Eden, so it's
And their
familiar but different. And she's now shacked up with the guy, one of
can't
the
remember
guys
his
that
name. Brad?
Khaleesi has sex with in
Dan?
Game of
I don't
Thrones.
remember the new guy.
Okay,
His
so
name's Brad.
no bottoms. How do we see her? For
So
this?
he's peeping through a door, an open door, like from a distance, and we just see this girl in a t-shirt and no pants and no undies.
Which is kind of like a little mini reveal in its own right. It's like, oh, she's standing around in underwear.
Yeah, the
she's
shadows
not.
made it seem
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
maybe there was some
Because it was kind of blurry,
But she just has a bush.
but it's like kind of blurry. I don't know, like did we see Bush? Yeah,
I saw
Yeah, we
bush.
definitely-
Maybe I
Okay.
projected, but
No,
I saw
I
bush.
thought I did too, but I couldn't remember.
Oh, it was there.
So then she comes out a few seconds later in a dress somehow, and is like super manic and excited to meet everyone,
Yeah.
and like hugs Brad and what's her face
Eden.
Eden in a way that makes it seem like they're in a relationship, and they're like, "How did you all meet?" And their answer is just Mexico,
Yeah, she kind
I
of.
love how Mexico becomes this alluring
Yeah.
thing.
place of cults.
Oh, Mexico.
Went to
jungles.
Mexico.
Yeah.
That's not how it was in Mexico.
Mexico. Things are different.
You can
in
fuck me right
Mexico.
here. That's how we did it in Mexico. It was
Mexico.
wild.
In Mexico, we played a game.
That game's called I Want, and then this fucking asshole wants to tell you about how he killed his wife. It's like Mexico sounds not great the way that you guys did it. So now there's three, like maybe they're in like a weird kind of like sex triad, we think,
Yeah,
maybe.
you kind of assume that, I think, at that point.
There's like an uncomfortable degree of sort of physical contact between all of these old friends. Do you guys have like really intimate physical relationships with all of your close and or
Absolutely not.
No.
I mean, there are people I hug
yeah, but like
when I see them.
Not even that.
No.
long lingering embraces.
I don't
just
think I've
full-
ever hugged anyone
There
in
are-
this room.
A
No,
few
you haven't.
people. There are a few people I'm that way with, but 100% because they're that way.
Fair enough. You're
And it
just
doesn't feel
matching
creepy.
their energy.
Well,
I am locking the door, and everybody has to hug to leave. It is Kyle's place, so you're still gonna have to hug.
Yeah.
I'm naturally like I'm a hugger, like I'm a person that likes hugging, so I always have to check that impulse, like want to hug somebody because I know not everybody is into that. But there's also like the way that these people hug each other in this movie is like totally different.
It's a
Like,
sex hug.
It's a cult hug. Like
Yeah.
it's a thing where like they hug you and then they step back and like keep their hands on your shoulders and like look you in the eyes and they're like, "I love you," and you're like, "I don't know you." Why are you telling me that?
At one point, Brad grabbed Kira's head, like, and
Yeah.
pushed
Either-
her down, which was a very aggressive thing.
Yeah.
And so then there's all these illusions that something's amiss here. Like we don't know. Like something is
It's
not
sexy
quite right.
or it's creepy.
It's like
We don't
horny and
know.
weird. I was horny.
Yeah. Oh, for
I mean,
sure.
you guys thought it was
You're horny
weird.
too.
I thought it was
Well,
horny.
I think we were all horny.
Horny.
Also, we didn't mention this yet, but Brad, we're just going to call him Brad, looks a lot like Will. Eden's new boyfriend
Yeah.
Yes.
looks like her husband a little.
Yeah.
Who
So
both
it's
look like
she-
white men.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
they're white men with beards and
I think it's
sad
probably
eyes.
intentional.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be intentional.
Yeah. And so then I think like, there's all of these sort of like MacGuffins or like misdirects, like, he seems increasingly paranoid. Nobody's kind of like matching his paranoia. A new character is introduced who we've mentioned before. He just sort of shows up.
He has a great name.
Pruitt.
Pruitt.
Thank you. I
And
couldn't remember.
who is he, Kyle? Who is this
he
actor?
is character actor John Carroll Lynch, I think is his name.
Yeah, that's right.
And he is a famous creep. He was in Zodiac. He played Arthur Lee Allen, another 3-named creep. He was also Drew Carey's brother in the Drew Carey Show. Not a creep in that.
Yeah. But it's one of those faces you'd recognize.
Yeah, you'd know him, you saw him, and he's horrifying. Like, he's so good at just being completely unsettling.
Well, it's good, really good casting, particularly for this sort of like this like amorphous group of like kind of nobodies. It's interesting, like nobody in this movie is particularly famous, and everybody's like passably good looking, but he's like just this sort of like, you know, regular ass looking, super tall, super bald,
clearly older than everybody else, so he
yeah.
does not fit in.
He keeps referring to beverages as the diet.
Yeah,
like he does,
I'll take anything diet.
Well, everyone else is drinking very expensive wine.
Yeah.
An $8 million bottle of wine, which frankly seems impossible.
I think that was an exaggeration.
Wait, what?
They said it's an $8 million bottle of wine, which, you know, I don't know
I'm
anything
sure
about
that
wine,
exists,
but
it's probably like remember when Victoria's Secret made the $1 million bra?
right.
Like, it's one of those dumb things that who the fuck buys
Since you
that?
cared so much about the bra, Kyle, does this help you? Does this metaphor help?
This comparison is helping a lot.
You clearly remember when that.
Well, I have a framed version of it on I have a shadow
As
box
we look
with $1
upon
million bra in my living room.
It's a bra covered in diamonds, like real diamonds.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it cost $1 million
Seems
dollars.
for something that's supposed to create support. Why weigh it down with really heavy
Why
gemstones?
would you
True.
Seems
ever wear
impractical.
it? Because it's worth $1 million.
Yeah.
It's a very impractical thing that only rich people would buy. My point is, I don't know if this wine is
Victoria's secret is that she's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
That's a dumb thing to do with that money. So what are all the lists of like weird misdirects? He finds phenobarbital in the ex-wife's
digging
bedroom.
through her room.
He digs through everything.
The thing that prompted him to like go dig in the bedroom was he just was creepily looking through the full size glass door into the bedroom and sees her like kind of upset. She's like upset and like puts something in the bedroom drawer, which is a totally normal thing to do. And he's like, better go check that out.
Investigate.
Something weird going on there.
Yeah.
This is what just quick side note. The actor who plays Will, you might remember him as
what is he from?
The actor that played Trey, Ryan Atwood's brother on the OC, who had an iconic death.
What'd you say?
I might be the only person in this room that knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, what you say? So anyway.
And he hasn't worked a
I
day
kept
since.
So I kept thinking about that the whole time. But anyway.
I think his name was Logan. Logan.
He
His
looks
name is
like a
Trey
Logan.
Atwood.
Yeah, he does look like a Logan.
He looks like a Logan.
He looks like shit, quote unquote. His friends call him like basically
Cro-mag.
a piece of shit, Cro-mag, a dirty dish rag. This is a man whose toddler
lost his
son
son.
Lost
died.
a child
2 years
at
ago.
a party where all of these people were there.
So
Not
everybody,
even 3 years ago.
everybody watched this guy's kid die.
It should also be noted he did not have a beard in those flashbacks. So when they call him Cro-mag, it's like they are like mocking him for his grief beard that he's growing. Which like, hey, cool move, best friends. Really
Yeah,
nice.
they're all pieces of shit. We would not be friends with these people.
Except the toad.
Yeah, she's great.
The toad's dope. She
Claire.
pieced
Oh, yeah,
out early.
Claire's
Professor.
fine.
She's like, listen, I don't want to do coke. I've got a class in the morning. I don't want to make out with all these people who I've known forever.
I don't want to hear murder stories.
So that's another misdirect. Toad leaves early. Tall creep follows her out, and then like all this stuff keeps happening kind of like just off screen. Like he follows her out to her car and we kind of can't quite see it. At one point in time, new husband is like talking to somebody at the door. We don't actually see who that is. It's just like this sort of way of like tweaking the paranoia about what is actually happening.
Yeah, there's all these like little moments where, and it's interesting because I was thinking they could have gone the other way with it. Like they could have set this up where like I guess they kind of do this, but there's so many unsettling things with like him locking the door, but they could have set it up where you're just like, oh no, this is like totally normal and Will is like overreacting. And that would have, I think, paid off that moment where we find out that like Choi's alive and he's like wrong about that. That might have paid that off a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, so Danielle, where did you see this for the first time, like in a theater or?
No, I saw it like at an apartment. I don't know what is the way to.
Where
say
was it? What's the name of the apartment complex?
Joni Johanna's.
Anyway.
Hey, look, there's this weird button. There's this button on my computer that says edit.
No, keep it.
Yeah, leave it in.
Leave it.
So then, Kyle, who did you watch it alone? Watch it with someone?
No, I watched it with someone.
Okay, so what I wonder.
What's the
wanna say
name?
who?
What's the name?
I watched it with my soon-to-be ex-wife.
I can't wait to listen to this podcast in my asylum.
Hey guys. Hey, dear listeners, if you have tips for coping with grief, please get in touch. Hashtag we hurting out here.
But interesting that you bring up grief, because that's what a lot of this film is about.
Yeah,
Is
it
this
was,
a
Back to the film.
meditation?
Back
it
to
was
the film.
very interesting watching this film through this grief lens.
Yeah.
It's
true.
I mean, it was resonant in ways maybe we
was.
did not anticipate when we picked it.
Absolutely.
We probably would have been better with just neo-Nazis getting fucking gassed up
It's true.
in the woods.
All this grief shit, I was like, oh God.
Honestly,
What have we done?
honestly, getting like real for a second, like the first time I watched it, like I was like, oh, these people are totally insane, like the cult people.
Yeah.
And this time I was like, oh, I get it. Like I totally get it.
I was like, you're right. I can get rid of my depression.
Yeah.
It's just a breath out.
Yeah.
Cool perspective, you guys. Emma, we've got to go. This is literally the moment in the movie when
Let's have
we
a
were
drink.
saying like,
Oh, this reminds
Danielle,
me.
let's talk about some stuff.
Oh, God. We forgot to bring up that at some point, I think Kyle, someone made a joke about Get Out, and then we did decide that this movie is basically white Get Out.
White Get Out.
Which
Except there is a black woman in it.
there is a
like,
black woman, but she's not given that much
She's
development.
given almost nothing
Yeah.
to do
Until
at the
the
beginning.
end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's pretty kick-ass, but like it's like we didn't get to know her or like
Yeah.
have her. Why the fuck does she stay? Because this Kira
Her
is black,
staying is wild.
and like she is Will's girlfriend, being supportive, coming to this weird ass party, and then shit gets weird, and then he's also being annoying. So like I just want her to leave.
Will is constantly going off into rooms by himself, constantly going out to the backyard by himself for long stretches of time, and then having flashbacks, like these sort of like weird delusions. And then we come back to her, and good old faithful Kira is still hanging out with the biggest
His
group of
asshole
fucking creeps.
friend.
Yeah.
All these assholes that she's just meeting for the first time, and she's always like sitting quietly and staring at the floor.
Actually, I guess she could know some of them.
They had met. Remember?
But everybody-
One of them
Oh,
was like,
did they
we
meet?
met at something.
So she
Oh,
might have
yeah,
known
yeah,
like the
yeah.
gay
Yes.
couple.
Maybe.
But everybody else was like, I haven't seen you in so long. Sorry, I didn't know how to connect.
Yeah,
so it's
sorry,
like
I didn't.
still half strangers at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's also another weird kind of like outlier that comes into play at the end of the movie, which is like new husband. Guys, I'm bad with names.
Brad.
We're
Brad.
calling him
We're calling
Brad,
him Brad.
even though I'm
Brad.
not totally
I don't
convinced that's his
remember that's
name.
his name.
He shuffles out into the backyard with a lantern in hand. He lights this lantern. It sort of glows red. Sang some Sting. Some Sting
I
lyrics.
sang Roxanne, very badly.
And it's just kind of like, oh, that's weird. And then he like comes back inside.
You kind of forget about it. They put it in a spot in the movie where
Yeah.
like we're not quite ready to pop off just yet. So it just is like a little aside.
It was weird.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh,
The
this is a
cake looked
weird
good.
thing. Oh,
cake
yeah,
did
the
get,
cake.
Looked
It was
really
red
good.
velvet.
Yeah.
Like
With
blood.
like vanilla
Blood.
frosting.
Yeah, it looked really,
Kind of like
really, really
Eden's
good.
dumb dress.
Oh,
Eden is
metaphor.
wearing like a classic Lana Turner style, well, Kim Basinger in LA Confidential style, white old Hollywood dress that's just begging to be covered in blood the whole movie.
Yeah.
And it looks good when it is.
I believe Steven called it Chekhov's dress.
Well, we realized there's going to be a Chekhov something in every one of these fucking movies.
What does
because,
that mean?
Chekhov's
For
gun.
listeners and me.
I mean,
So the idea is that did Chekhov say it, or is it about a Chekhov play?
That's a great
assume
question.
The latter.
Either
I would
way,
guess.
basically, if there's a gun in the first act, it's going to be
someone-
used.
It's going to go off by the end.
Gotcha.
Of the play. So
if there's a white dress, it's gonna be
get
covered in
blood
blood.
on
Yeah.
it. And Psycho. Well, not Psycho.
Uh,
what was that movie we watched
Creep,
last time?
the
Creep.
axe.
There's an
was
axe in the
Chekhov's
very
axe.
beginning. Something's going to come into play. There you go.
I'm into that.
Yeah.
So foreshadowing. It's just a fancy way of saying foreshadowing.
I needed foreshadowing. That's the word that I connect with.
So at this super chill party, we eventually find out that, well, they are in fact in a cult, and it's like, well, they're in Mexico. They watch like a video of somebody kind of like somebody's death rattle, like in a bed when they're surrounded by loved ones, and there's a lot of sort of like talk and hokum about like releasing pain and like joining everybody on the other side. Some kind of vaguely spiritual, heaven-y, leftovers-y kind of like metaphor.
Yeah, it's all very like everything they're talking about just sounds like they're talking about like Christian heaven. It's just like you'll see your family again. Like you're gonna go meet them. Like there's really not a lot too different from it. Wonderful character actor Toby Huss playing the head of the cult,
the guru or the
Dr. Joseph.
Yeah.
I don't think we get a last name, or maybe Joseph.
That's
is
wild
the last
in
name.
cults when like they don't have any sort of spiritual figurehead. They're like just straight up like a scientist or a doctor.
Yeah.
That's a tight cult.
Yeah,
That makes more sense.
yeah. It's like they're rejecting all the classical religions, but then it's just like, I'm a doctor and I'm here to tell you that you're going to see all your pets when you die. Like they're all in heaven again.
What
Like,
is
it's the same
est?
shit.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I can tell you.
Oh, okay.
Good.
Because of the Americans.
Yeah.
It's
So,
referenced in the.
it's
context of the movie.
it's a real like self-improvement thing. It's not actually a cult. It's
Okay.
like a pyramid scheme.
Okay.
Well, not even a pyramid scheme. You pay to like learn how to better yourself.
Oh.
It was a big thing in the 70s. There's another version of it called the Foundation or the House.
It's like a big group therapy kind of thing.
Yeah, it's basically
Okay.
like you go and you talk about your truth. It's kind of like AA for non-alcoholics.
Oh, okay. But it's like it was big in the 70s.
It's a
and
big
declined
self-help
since
thing.
then. Okay.
80s, I guess.
Okay.
That's when the Americans take. I know only about it because of the
exclusively from the Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's still really helpful. Thank you.
it's just like a self-help
It's
thing.
compared to it at one point,
Yeah.
which is why.
And I got that,
asked.
and I did almost shout out Americans. I restrained myself, but I'm glad it came in.
Well, this
Shout out
cult,
to the
That's what I'm
Americans.
here for.
yeah, it's good. Final season on airing now.
I'm loving it.
I need to no spoilers.
So this whole cult though is called the Invitation.
Yeah.
So presumably it's about kind of like reuniting with dead loved ones in another afterlife.
I'm just I'm just doing fucking shit with my hand. I'm sorry.
I was like, oh, I believe our guest has a question.
Oh, me.
The chair recognizes the good Ms. Gonzalez.
I'm summoning.
Fair enough.
No, I'm just feeling my tendons move. Just wondering how
one of the things
muscles
I love
work.
about you, Danielle, is you're always very aware of what your body is. So there's always libations flowing at this sweet party that
They all want
Very
to drink.
expensive.
everybody's
Wow.
drinking. There's all these weird things where sometimes people are very pointedly given a drink that is like for them and them alone. So that culminates.
Not at all creepy.
Not at all weird. I mean, let's just talk about the kind of like denouement.
Yeah, baby.
Well, my issue with it is it's like, did she expect them to all drink at the exact same time? Like, was it supposed to be a cheer
I think it
situation?
was a kind of a
Gonna
toast,
toast,
and they were
all
toasting.
gonna sit.
Because
And
it's
then
just
they would
like,
all die at once.
clearly the effects kicked in. So if like one person didn't drink it,
Gina died pretty quick.
yeah, like
Yeah.
if even half of the people didn't like take a big enough sip,
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
So
the
what
timing.
happens is they're all seated up on the table. Like Will has been kind of like convinced that he's being paranoid. Everybody's still there except for Toad. And and so like port is poured into small little glasses and they're all going to toast. And then our dude Will is triggered by something. I mean, how does he suddenly?
I don't remember.
So he
smashes all
he
the
had
glasses.
just come from watching a video. He was snooping around.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he went to the office and he just pulled a laptop out of the desk and
Not
opened
password
it
protected.
and watched like the first video he saw on the desktop, I guess. And
It's probably
first of all,
bookmarked.
good job by the cult or just leaving your video from your creator that's like, oh, kill everybody tonight. It's gonna be dope. For wills of the world to just find. But yeah, he watches that video and then he goes back upstairs and I think he's just like slowly putting it together as they're about to take the drink. Like,
Got it.
oh shit, this is what that video was about. And that's when
Yeah.
he slaps everything in everybody's hand.
So he's knocking all the glasses out of his hand, and then No Bottoms gets kind of riled up She's always seemed a little feral.
Yeah, she's a bit wild.
This was her moment where
She
she's
gets
like, "Oh
uncorked.
fuck, yeah, it's time to go off."
And she's like, you ruined everything. And she just goes fucking buck wild on
Will.
Will.
He accidentally... I mean, no, it
He-
was pretty deliberate.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
not
He, in
accidental.
self-defense, pushes her away from him. She's attacking him
Yeah.
It's just weird because we just heard a story about a guy who killed his wife in the exact same
by
way.
pushing her.
That was a little weird because it almost seemed like the movie was trying to
Conflate the two.
It was
or like,
well, it was like trying to juice that a little bit more, where it's like, oh, we still don't know if these people are. Maybe he just accidentally killed this woman, like that guy, and you're like, come on, we know at this
these
point.
bad
Yeah.
motherfuckers.
As
Yeah,
soon as
he's
she
not a
rushes
good
him and
man.
says, "You ruined it," it's
Yeah.
like, we know the game is up. You don't just let it go.
So he pushes her, she hits her head and passes out. Miguel rushes up to sort of perform CPR because he's a doctor. And then as all of this is happening, Gina
Starts foaming at the mouth.
foaming at the mouth. And she's
Damn,
out.
Gina, right?
Damn.
And she's dead.
She's-
she
she's
dies
good.
instantly.
Yeah, so pretty quick.
So nice slap in the glasses out of everybody's hand. Will, you missed one.
Aw.
And then as Miguel is performing CPR on No Bottoms, I fully had a pillow over my eyes because I knew what was coming, but he gets got in the head.
Yeah, he gets one in the dome
gets shot.
from Brad.
Brad.
Yeah,
And then
Paisley.
it's just full on
chaos.
Murder
yeah.
fest.
Everybody from the Mexico cult is now trying to murder all of the guests. Okay,
Let's be clear. The all white people from the Mexico cult. These are not Mexican people.
Okay, yeah, it's true. True that. True that.
It is a
Yeah,
white
that's
American
very-
cult that
Yeah.
happened to
Her in
go on
Mexico.
vacay.
There are like
Yeah.
no
In
Mexicans
Mexico.
involved.
No.
For my disclaimer for my people.
So then it's just chaos. But I, before we jump into the rest of what happened, what is the point? I get the point of like, why do they have to kill everybody else to be
So I think
reunited with your loved ones on the other? It seems selfish.
to me,
Yeah.
what it seemed like was that the people in the cult had experienced this loss, and they wanted to go to the other side, but then they're like, oh, if I go to the other side, then like
I wanna
my
take all
other
my
people
friends
that I
with me.
love aren't going to be there either.
So then
So we're just going to take everybody that I love with
all the
me
stuff
to
about
the other
loving
side.
them and choosing them is not bullshit.
No,
No.
yeah, I think that's
Yeah, I think they really
Because they're going to kill themselves too.
Yeah.
because they all clearly were like close friends,
Yeah.
you know, just like
And
maybe
it's
had grown
a better
apart a little
time,
bit because
yeah.
of the grief, but they all clearly cared about each other a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like ancient Egyptians when
Yeah. What?
I'm going to explain.
All your valuables.
Oh, hold on. This is going somewhere.
You know, bury
When
yourself with your slaves.
You bury
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
yourself with your cats and your
Yeah.
slaves and,
And your
your
stuff.
jewels and all your stuff because you want it in the afterlife.
You know, like definitely put your brain in a jar because like you're gonna want it in that jar
Exactly.
when you get there. Like, where's my brain? Get these fucking cats out here. Where's my brain?
I just meant like the poor people that had to be buried alive with like someone
Yeah.
because that was like part
Right.
of the belief system. It's kind of like that.
This podcast is brought to you by Dubai, where that shit's still happening. Just don't give anybody your passport when you get there in exchange for work. So then it's craziness, right? So what is the kill sequence? Who dies in what order?
I don't
Gina
even know.
dies.
It's real
Then
fast.
Poisoned.
Miguel dies.
Miguel gets shot in the head. Choi comes up the
Choi
stairs.
gets shot.
Yeah, Pruitt full on shoots Choi in the stomach like right away. That's the moment where it's like, whoa, fuck, because he
Yeah.
just like did not even wait. He's like Pruitt's like ready to go.
He's like in full Terminator
Yeah.
mode. He kind of like stalks him off screen.
Yeah.
Like, there are
shoots
two shooting in the stomach scenes. That's such
Yeah.
a weird place to get shot.
Well, Eden commits suicide by shooting herself in the stomach.
bad
And-
choice.
Bad choice.
Is that like
Very dramatic though, coloring wise.
Yeah, very effective with the dress.
that dress? We already talked about it. And then so Will and Kira, the girlfriend, run off.
Yeah, they scoot.
He's lived in the house, so he
knows all
ostensibly
the-
knows all the nooks and crannies. They get trapped. They watch Ben get
Fatso.
stabbed in the backyard.
Funny dude who's just here for the snack.
Yeah.
He's like, I hate my wife. I didn't deserve this. Stab, stab, stab.
Yeah, that him getting stabbed in the back moment was, I think everybody in this room was like, yay. Like
Yeah.
that
It
was
is
a pretty brutal.
It's a
It's like
pretty
because
big
it's
knife.
a beefy back. Too.
Yeah, it's, the Foley artist is like, we gotta stab a big old boy here, so
What's the biggest knife you've got?
It's like, I'll take that watermelon and 3 pounds of ground beef.
And let's make some noise.
Beefy bag definitely sounds like a sweet like Applebee's.
Oh, well, not beefy bag. Beefy bag.
Beefy bag.
And then they.
Sorry, I apologize for that.
No, I did it at the exact same time. It's like
It's
really
a classic.
not.
We were all thinking of it.
Yeah, 2 people had to do it.
When Will and Kira kind of they're chased into a room by feral no bottoms, and then when they decide to leave and open the door, she's not there anymore. They walk down the stairs. There's a lot of people just kind of like moving freely throughout the house when there's like motivated killers around every corner. So like that, I wasn't cool with that. But they find her and she's all gurgly, like she's clearly been attacked by somebody, presumably who we later learn out it's what's his name who got slashed. But I
don't remember.
I think it's unsatisfying not seeing her get felled.
I think it's weird they set up this idea of mercy killing at the beginning, and there was not a single mercy killing, really, truly.
That's true.
With all the like, you would think like, oh, you were ready for this, you were pumped up for this, you did this earlier, and he didn't mercy kill a single person.
I think maybe the mercy killing was like the grief, like as opposed to them actually like
they view what they're
slowly.
doing as mercy killing.
Right. Like he killed that coyote with Tyron because both of them in that moment, him and Kira, were like, oh, obviously we have to do this. Like we don't want this animal to suffer. So then I guess it's supposed to be juxtaposed with the decision of the people in the cult. Like obviously we have to do this.
Yeah,
we're all suffering.
Right.
You know, that type of thing.
Maybe
I don't know.
It's pretty high concept for a movie with such bad acting.
It's pretty high concept.
Not great acting.
But I think that's right.
I am kind of glad that they did not have that moment where it was like, like you felt it the whole time you wanted to pay off, but it would have been so on the nose
if he had like snuffs Eden at
right. If he had like taken the poker or whatever and like beat her in the head with it. It's like, oh God.
Christ. I don't know. That might have been a little rewarding.
The Foley work.
It was good, right?
Oh, Michael Winslow over here.
That was legit good.
Do that again.
No, I just want to get to the sweet ass ending.
Okay, the ending is very good.
Okay, we've had our fun.
We have
Back to work.
Move on.
I can't remember his name. The gay man.
None of us can.
Who's not
None of us
Miguel.
can.
Ooh.
And Kira and Will are outside the house. They've all.
We thought he was dead, but he
survived somehow.
survived, yeah.
He stabbed Brad in the chest.
He had such an anticlimactic death. Just one stab.
Yeah.
Well, so at one point in time, just one more thing before we get to that.
Okay.
Kira and Will are moving through the house. They overhear Eden and the new husband, and she's like, it wasn't supposed to be like this. Like it's supposed to be like painless or whatever. And he's like, well, whatever. We've still got to go kill them. The surviving member of the gay couple, whose name we don't remember, he manages to get the jump on that guy, kill him, and then Eden, in her perfect white dress, like basically apologizes and then like shoots herself point blank in the stomach.
Not before she kind of panic shoots Will in the shoulder too. She sees them and is like,
Kira just has to be there like, what is happening?
Right. Kira's like, what the fuck?
Y'all maniacs.
But it was a cool moment to see her like, I think she played that really well, where she shoots him in the shoulder and then just goes like, oh no,
yeah.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Why'd I do this?
Yeah.
And
So
that's
then
when she shoots herself.
She asks Will to take her outside. Kira is like still along for the ride on this one. It's like, Kira,
She is the most
It is
supportive
buck
girlfriend.
wild that she like picks up Eden's feet and is like,
Yeah.
okay, sure.
I'll help
Hey,
you
we've
carry
all-
your dying ex-wife into the yard.
we've all been there. The sisterhood demands that we get
Yeah.
us out of the yard. And then what happens? What do they see?
They see that the entire city of Los Angeles is
Or at least the
The
Hollywood
rich
Hills.
part.
Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know about the valley.
Probably not.
Is,
How are things popping off in Burbank?
it is
Is
all,
Van Nuys getting buck wild?
It is all alight with red lanterns.
And then we hear like screams.
Screams and sirens.
and
Yeah.
stuff
So this is happening all over the city.
at that moment.
And I think like maybe possibly all over the world because
Yeah, because they mentioned
in the early he sort of alludes to that earlier where he's like there's thousands of people New York,
New York,
LA,
LA, yeah.
right,
Chicago.
more
All
people than you
smart
would think.
people like us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it maybe was like, and that video read to me as like, it's coming from Dr. Joseph. Like, it's just like
this is our big day. We're all doing this.
It's happening right now.
Yeah. I like genuinely exciting kind of revelation or reveal for the end of that movie. I was like, as it sort of dawns on you, I was like, oh, this is fucking dope.
Yeah.
That honestly was so cool.
Yeah.
A super well done, not a twist, just expansion of the world.
Yeah.
Because
It's cool.
you spend an hour and a half in this, like, not even the full house, really just 2 rooms in the house. And to see what's going on outside is like so rewarding. It's really cool.
It's like kind of like The Purge, and then next we'll get The Purge election year.
Yeah, it's just like that.
But I think, like I'm watching this movie and it's like the acting is kind of bad. It has, I think, to a certain extent, the problem that a lot of these types of movies, and at least like the ones that we watch, like Creep already, where it's like there's a lot of buildup, and I think you have to do that to a certain extent.
Oh yeah.
It's exciting once everything starts to kind of come undone or kind of unravel, and then the ending was amazing. So I think it has the effect of basically like wiping clean the slate a little bit of like everything that we were basically poking fun of up to that point.
Yeah, the ending, the payoff was there.
Yeah.
Well, once it started popping off, the jokes kind of
They stopped.
So good job. But I think that says something about the structure of movies like this, like you're saying, of just like that hour before of we're making jokes, but you guys are making jokes because you're nervous.
Yeah.
Because it's so good at building the tension, even though it is like kind of it's just a bunch of awful people talking to each other.
If I'm watching this on my laptop on headphones by myself, it's effective, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or like, in the dark with like some friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We did it. We watched it in the dark.
Yeah, it's nighttime.
It was good.
And I do think, there were problems with acting and dialogue, but overall, it's a really interesting story.
Yeah.
There were cool shots.
It's kind of like mumblecore horror.
And the ending was so
It really
great.
is.
So Danielle, now that we've seen it, and I think I would have a guess that it has something to do with that sick ending. But like, why was that on the list of the 3 movies that you brought?
I like the ending. I like that for the most part. I at least watched it in a no commentary space. So that changes things. But it definitely like that time seems less boring and more. I like that it makes it hard for you to know if Will is imagining things or not. And so like it's easy to make fun of it. And then I was like, oh, you're right. These are just like very bizarre things. But when you're watching it in a very just see what happens kind of way, it is very hard to be like, I can't tell if he's losing his mind or not.
Yeah.
Particularly when
like
Choi comes back.
Yeah, and you like lose your sense of like, who am I supposed to be sticking to right now?
Yeah.
Everyone's just bizarre. And it just makes it feel very unsettled when you can't follow like one person's trajectory because you're being told multiple times that it's not reliable.
The only rational person leaves 20 minutes into the party.
Yeah.
And we're like,
exactly.
Where's she going? We love her.
I guess I did make that comment earlier that like they could have leaned more into it, but now that you're saying it, I remember that same feeling the first time I watched it. Like I didn't question it. I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure Will's kind of nuts. Like, he's just clearly like not able to deal with this.
Yeah.
So really, you just want to make sure you watch this movie without a bunch of fucking knuckleheads cracking wise the whole time.
I like that.
Fine.
I do think that
I
it's
still
like
liked it.
if the person who's like the maybe cinematographer or like director, if like they were like more talented filmmakers, all of that stuff would have paid off maybe a bit better.
Yeah.
I thought the filmmaking was really solid, personally.
All right.
It's just me.
I could have. I could
I'm not
have.
good at conflict, so I'm turning around in my swivel chair.
Steven has no opinion.
God, how are Kyle and I going to work through this?
I think some of the dialogue could have been a little bit less insane.
Sure, yeah. I think
bonkers.
the script, like, from a dialogue point of view, is pretty rough.
Very rough. Just very like, how do we pretend these people know each other?
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation about why fucking and
Well, it's got a classic kind of like a straight white guy wrote this, and so he doesn't. So like all the women sound like straight white guys, and all the gay guys sound like straight white guys.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like well, what are you gonna
But that's okay. They're still very cool.
The core idea in the script, like,
it's good.
This like idea of exploring grief in this way that this movie does, I think is like solid enough to like, I'm not ready to like run the writers out of town.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
And we're also like a little test audience who is down for that sort of like cult concept or
Oh,
sort
yeah.
of true crime or like or
Yeah.
arranged, planned. What do you call when everybody kills
Mass
themselves
suicide?
at once? Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Suicide
Yeah,
Pact?
yeah.
Yeah, Suicide Pact.
Let's rank this bad boy.
Yeah.
So
What's our system for ranking for this one?
Isn't it 1 through 5 scariness?
Xannies, Red Lanterns. How
We did
many?
Zannies.
How many?
My last one for
Xanax.
creep was wet washcloths on your forehead.
My God. So maybe 1 through 5 pants that you're not wearing. When you really
Garments
should
you
be wearing,
don't have
you should be
on.
wearing pants, young lady.
It's true.
I'd give it. Well, are we still rank. What is this again? Is this scariness or
I think
goodness?
scariness.
Scariness.
I think our system should be a thumbs up or thumbs down on goodness. Just
Okay.
a straight up thumbs up,
Thumbs
down.
up on goodness.
And then scariness rating.
I'm gonna give it a 2 on scary.
Yeah.
Not a classically scary movie in the sense that I would think about it in my very limited vocabulary. Because I mean, it's you're anxious and that tension builds. It's not really scary when it's all kind of unraveling, other than just like, oh, don't go out of the room, you're safe in the room, but not scary in that sort of sense that I think it's going to totally keep me up at night. But that's me.
Yeah.
Danielle, shoot.
Thumbs up. And I also say 2 because I like how far removed conceptually it is. Like that it doesn't make me very scared. Like home invasion movies I can't do because it's like that could happen.
That could happen. Yeah.
Or even like serial killer stuff or any like abductee stuff. But this is very much like it's so set in a certain reality that does not feel close to home that I don't think it's that scary. But it's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thumbs up. Also a 2 because I
Wow.
will.
Kyle, don't fuck this up.
I will never be
don't have a different opinion.
rich enough to live in that world.
Yeah.
The class issues are
Yeah.
the scariest part.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It is a sort of like, class parable where it's like, well, at least dumb fucking rich assholes kill each other. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I like it was scary, and if I was watching it by myself, I'd probably turn it off. But I didn't have to leave the room at any point. I did cover my eyes a little bit at
me
the
too.
end, but I plug my ears because it's just movies are too loud. But
I love Emma. 'Cause I feel exactly the same way. That's my. We've talked about it before.
have we talked? Are you an HSP?
Highly sensitive person.
Yeah.
Yes, girl. We'll catch up outside.
Yeah. For all those HSPs out there, you can handle this one.
Yeah. That's solid point. Yeah. Add this to your queue. HSPs.
Yeah. What's the opposite of HSP?
Insensitive.
dullard.
Big
highly-
brave baby or big brave boy.
Big boy dummy.
Throw my triple B's out there.
Oh.
Thumbs up. 0 out of 5.
I knew
you
this
fucker.
controversial motherfucker.
You liar. You
No,
fucking
I'm
liar.
kidding.
not
That's a
scared
joke.
of
That's a
anything.
joke.
I am
I
afraid
would
of
say
no
like
ghosts.
I would say like 1.5 out of 5
Okay.
because
Just to be different.
if I'm reaching back to
You're first.
remembering, and the reason I say halves is like 2 just seems like a little too much for me. Like it did not spook me at all in like the traditional sense.
Well, one is like the Casper movie with Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
Still got a ghost in it.
Yeah, and I guess that's just like the half step for me. It's just like I recognize it's not like a children's movie,
Yeah.
but also it just really didn't do much. Now, like on an existential level,
It's
That's
shook.
like,
scary, though.
Sure, yeah, that's pretty spooky. But yeah, I'll say 1.5. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay.
No.
Everyone
it's
likes
kinda-
to be
yeah.
different.
If we average it out, it's basically a 2. I mean, you might as well just say
You
2.
don't
'cause
count.
It's a 2.
I'll just say
Yeah.
2. Just to
Okay, good.
make it happen.
Okay, we're good.
I'm much more comfortable now that I've said 2.
Me too.
Before we wrap things up, I want to ask Emma, what was your post creep situation? Were you able to sleep?
I just had scaredy moments where I was like working at my desk, and by working I mean putting on makeup because that's where my desk is just my makeup station. But anyway, it's supposed to be my desk. But anyway,
Going
Is
on
that
a
why
journey
you have
here.
to do work while you do the movies?
yes, because I just do makeup instead of work. No, my desk is a mess. That's the only point of that part of the story. But my desk doesn't face my door. Like it faces away. Someone could sneak up on me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to do turnarounds.
Do you have a swivel
I did
chair?
a few turnarounds. What?
Do you have a swivel chair?
No, I just twist my neck
Okay.
Okay, well, when we do Patreon, don't worry, we'll spring for that chair.
Yeah.
We're like,
so I can make a fast turnaround.
yeah, we want your chiropractic health to be tip top. Any other parting thoughts? My
I
dudes?
like it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I love it. I'm glad to watch it.
I think we need to get something on here at some point in time that you haven't seen, Kyle.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah.
I would love to be surprised by a movie.
But you've seen a lot of them.
I've seen
We
a
should
lot.
do-
It's gonna be tough.
We should do a
Tough ass.
switcheroo where you or I bring the scary movie because there are a few scary movies I've seen,
Yeah.
Same.
or we make you watch a movie that scares us
Well,
but doesn't scare normal people.
I think what we've talked about
That's
before
most.
is about like
So, the entire history of cinema.
Yeah, everything.
we've talked before about The Exorcist and how like you guys don't necessarily find The Exorcist scary.
I did not
Didn't-
find it
Didn't
scary.
grow up religious.
Yeah,
It's like,
so that to
dumb.
me is the scariest movie there is.
Yeah.
So I would, even though I've seen it a billion times, I would kind of like to watch it with you guys. Like,
Sure.
gotta do it.
nighttime, lights off, like fully invest in it and see how spooked I get.
Yeah, it's weird because I get why it's scary. It's
Yeah.
a great movie, but it did not scare me.
It's wild. I had anxiety dreams about that movie for most of my
You
adult
probably
life.
saw it young, though. No?
I didn't see it young. What I saw young was clips from the movie on TV. So like I would see parts of it on
Yeah.
TV and like specials of just like scary movie countdown lists on Bravo or whatever.
Yeah.
And it always scared the shit out of me. And then I watched it like in high school, and it was like it got me because I remembered all that stuff from being a kid, but I was still not old enough to like handle it, I guess, even in high school.
Yeah.
But yeah, it stuck with me. It wasn't until like a couple years ago I was able to watch it and like not really be that affected by it.
Yeah. Cool.
So I'm a coward too.
Yeah, we all have our
Yay.
weaknesses. Danielle, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
I think it's The Strangers.
Okay.
Whoa.
You said Home Invasion is no, and that's
Yeah, Home Invasion is no.
It's
no,
very,
no, no.
that's very unsettling.
Yeah.
I also don't like paranormal stuff, so like I will not watch The Grudge because I hate spider walking.
Oh yeah, Spider.
I hate.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That's what I fucking call it. I fucking hate when they do that, especially kids.
Don't like it. Don't
It
like
pisses
it.
me off.
They're not supposed to do that.
No, they are not. People who do that as a joke, ooh, I'll curb stomp them. I hate it. It makes me so angry. Like no one has business to be doing that with their body. So
Danielle's one of the kindest people I've ever met. I
Nice
never,
as they come.
Never
She's
expected her
vegan.
to say the words
Lover
curb
of
stomp.
animals.
I've seen American History X. I've been inspired.
Danielle's silently watching American History X,
Yeah.
like, I think I could do that for the right person.
That's okay.
Just
easy.
give me my chance shot.
Easy.
Coach, put me in.
Disconnected. You're only stomping their face. The curb does the rest. It's an easy, like, I don't know, disconnect.
Cool. Well, on that note, I want to say shout out to Danielle. Thanks.
Yeah.
Loved having you. Just as a sort of like blanket, statement for all of us. Hey, go see some local comedy.
Yeah.
Maybe
Wherever you listen to
Pendulum
this,
Wherever you
presents.
are.
I don't know. That's a pretty good choice. Pendulum presents
yeah.
every third Thursday in Austin, Texas. Are we? Because I'm
At
assuming
Austin,
this shit's
Texas?
making it outside
Yeah.
of 512.
We're gonna
baby.
be, we're gonna
Oh,
be
yeah,
at
baby. This is
City
going
Limits
viral.
performing our show.
Viral.
Yeah. Pendulum presents sketch comedy third Thursday of every month at Cold Town Theater, 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah. Perfect. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.